pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Glad to have everybody back. Another beautiful Tuesday. Summer approaches. Let's begin by approving the minutes of the May the 26th, 2020 regular meeting, please. Got a motion? Second. Mr. Wilkerson made the motion. Mr. Baker seconded that. Is that an all yes vote?
Yes.
Okay, we didn't have anyone sign in tonight on our pink sheet. Won't have any public comments this evening. Mr. Minkiff doesn't have any presentations on here this evening. So we're going to go directly to the administrative section of the agenda. I need a motion to look at those, please.
I move. Second.
Okay, Mr. Curry made the motion. Mr. Baker seconded that. Okay, Mr. Minkiff.
Okay, item A, adoption of charter public school resolution, which is attached. And if you'll humor me, I'm going to read this resolution out loud tonight, and then we'll talk about what we're doing.
Now, we have a...
You have a copy. You have the state policy 3300, and as well as the copy of the resolution in your agenda. Charter public school resolution. Whereas on June 24, 2019, West Virginia Code 18-5G-1 was passed that allowed for the establishment of charter public schools, or charter schools in West Virginia. Whereas West Virginia Code 18-5G-6 requires county boards of education to establish and maintain policies and practices consistent with the principles and professional standards for charter school authorizers. And whereas West Virginia Code 18-5G-4 requires the West Virginia Board of Education and the West Virginia Department of Education to make certain materials available to the participants in the establishment of a charter school, including but not limited to county boards of education. And whereas the West Virginia Board of Education adopted Policy 3300 effective March the 13th, 2020, relating to the establishment and operation of West Virginia charter schools. And whereas, consistent with the stated intent and objectives of West Virginia Code 18-5G-1, the purpose of Policy 3300 is to establish a clear and transparent process allowing for the creation and operation of charter schools. And whereas Policy 3300 includes provisions consistent with professional principles and standards for charter school authorizers relating to organizational capacity and infrastructure, application evaluation, ongoing charter school oversight and evaluation, and approval, renewal, and revocation decision-making. And whereas, to fulfill the statutory mandate, Policy 3300 affords each county board of education the option of creating its own charter school policy or adopting Policy 3300 in whole or in part as its charter school policy. Now there let it be resolved that the Lincoln County Board of Education wholly adopts West Virginia Board of Education Policy 3300 as its charter school policy. And by doing so tonight, approving this resolution and adopting the state's policy will fulfill the requirement that each county board in the state of West Virginia have such a policy. And it's my understanding that most counties across the state, their boards are adopting this resolution as opposed to developing their own policy. I did give you a policy of copy of 3300. It's 54 pages long. It's a lengthy policy. And I was looking at Rowdy and thinking back, I don't remember how long it's been. We had the School Board Association meeting in Charleston when Howard Sufer spoke about charter schools. And much of what was discussed with us up there that night has come to fruition and is included in this policy. I was sharing with some of the board members before we got started here this evening that the application process begins now. And anyone out there who's interested in starting up a charter school has until August the 31st to submit an application to a county board. Those deadlines are found over on page 17 of policy 3300. And each county board, whether they're doing it individually or you could partner with another county in doing so, have until October the 31st of this year to provide feedback to the applicant. And it plays out November 15th, what has to be returned to the Board of Education. Eventually, there's an opportunity if the application is not approved by the county board, then there's a denial process where there's an appeal that goes to a committee that would be assembled by the state board. The first charter schools, which there could be 3, the first year would not start up until the 2022-23 school year. And then there would be no more than 3 the first year, no more than 3 more the next year, and then after that it opens up. There could be an unlimited number of charter schools across the state. So, I don't know if there's anything else that needs to be
Yeah,
said.
let me just ask that, please. Now, if someone was interested in this, is there an application form or procedure? How would they go about doing that?
We don't have that documentation, but it's coming.
Okay.
There'll actually be a template for the individual or individuals to complete.
Would that, when that occurs, would that be something that would be on our website, or would that be just something?
We could put it on our website. It certainly would be it'll be on the state's website.
Well, I don't mean necessarily the whole policy.
We put a link on our website to the state's website where they have the policy.
Well, the application itself, I think they had access to it,
I did read in here at the top of page
whatever it is.
17, it talks about training for potential applicants and authorizers. And it says time frame March through May of 2020. And you know, I have not heard anything about training for this until I read this policy over the weekend. So,
I can't imagine that would have anything to do with the chaos we endured the last
sure, that's what
several
it
months.
is.
I mean, the state board, when did they approve this policy?
March the 13th.
Well, so that was just right on the heels of that. So if there were, of course, we have to see what the actual application looks like, but if it were available, then like Rowley said, there'd be a link to this document here and elsewhere.
I'm sure it's going to
Would
be.
you have to say what it says?
Like I said, it's the 54 pages of information related to the process of completing and then evaluating the application. And I'd read in here, it says if there's more than 3 applicants the first year out across the state of West Virginia for charter schools, then there'll be a committee that will be assembled and will, at the state level, and that group will determine the 3 charter schools. So, I don't know how much interest there's gonna be across the state. As I mentioned earlier, I hear that higher ed has an interest, which makes sense.
You've heard that for a long time.
But we'll see, but again, this tonight fulfills a requirement that our board, that you will have a charter school policy, and it'll be the state policy.
If you want to have any questions about that, I think it's a good explanation. Reading, casual reading there.
Okay, item B, a contract with Billie Jean Jewell for clear mouth mask, and the agreement is attached, and these are face masks for our hearing impaired students. and staff members that will be working with those students. So it's something that hadn't crossed my mind. Dr. Lowe talked to me last
And you
week.
explained that to me, why there was such a need, the fact that they're hearing impaired.
Yes. And they're difficult to find, these masks. I went online and looked myself, so this lady was able to make them. We'll have them in place when school's back in session.
Why are they different?
You can see someone talking. So if it's a child that's hearing impaired and needs to be able to read the lips.
That makes sense.
When Ricky first approached me, I was like, wait a minute, why do I need a clear mouth mask? So I've been wearing one, she's not for you. It's,
That's, he explained that to me too. Makes sense.
so that's what we're doing now. Item C is the approval to create and post volleyball coaches positions at the 4 middle schools. Item D goes along with item C. It's revision to salary schedule 18, extracurricular assignments, effective with the 2020-21 school year. And if you look at the schedules, schedule 18, it's been revised to include the position of a head volleyball coach at the middle school level at $1,250, as well as an assistant volleyball coach at the middle school level at $625.
Okay, I have a question. We don't know what August is gonna hold. When are we going to hire these coaches for volleyball, for football, for fall soccer, etc.? Okay, so why are we going to obligate ourselves right now to pay people these coaches' salaries? We don't know, I understand, we have to retain our teachers. But is there no way we can't push back the retention date, the hiring date for coaches? I don't know why we wanna obligate ourselves to pay all this money now when we have no idea if there's gonna be school, much less fall sports.
Okay, part of what we're gonna talk about tonight is what I had emailed you Friday, and that's, are we going to allow our coaches to start working with our student
Right.
athletes? So, and if so, then we're gonna have to make sure these coaches are hired and they're in place because of the liability associated with it not being the case, what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
So it'd be.
so we're gonna have to hire the coaches if we're gonna have this 3-week window coming up in July. Actually, next week, they could start next week.
June or July.
I know Sean's interested.
Well, I have a question. It's bugged me for a few months, but volleyball is here tonight at $1,250. That's great, and a volleyball assistant. But there's no assistant soccer coach for middle school. That seems completely arbitrary. I don't understand why there's only a head soccer coach and no help, or no paid help. But there is obviously for the great traditional sports, but volleyball is brand new in here and it gets an assistant, a paid
I
assistant.
just went back and looked at our discussion that we had that
Right.
night. We had the parents here as well as what we had discussed during our work session.
Right.
We had in January or February.
Okay.
And that's what was discussed.
Because it is, Rowdy tell you, it's usually a soccer game. It's a 2-person. I would be glad to have the help. Jail Fry is probably going to help me, and it suits him that it isn't paid because of his court system job. So, I'm thinking for future years maybe.
Consider, I got you.
But
From
It
a
just-
hands-on perspective, I've not coached or played volleyball, but I agree 100% with Sean that in soccer, 2 people oftentimes really is leaving you shorthanded because of particularly trying to rotate kids in and out.
Yeah.
Get kids the minutes, keep track of who has played, who can go in to fill this position that needs minutes, because there's a lot going on to the casual observer would never understand watching a game of soccer.
because it's non-stop. It's it's.
Sean, aren't there a couple of other sports there that also don't have assistants?
There are. The ones that have assistants are baseball, basketball, football, softball. Let's call them the big 4, I guess, and volleyball now. But then everything else doesn't. It just seems.
Well, I understand, so I guess what we need to do is we look if there's a need for an assistant in soccer, are those other sports worthy of assistance, or
What are
are
the
they
other
okay?
sports?
Well, baseball, cheer, middle school cheer doesn't have an assistant paid.
I don't think they need.
Track,
Cross country doesn't, and I could see that the numbers are
That's what I mean,
small.
we'd have to look at each sport to see if
Yeah.
there's a need.
I mean, do any of the board members remember why the parents and the high school coaches argued for and attempted to justify assistance for volleyball at the middle school level?
I went back and looked at my notes, and I couldn't remember, it's been so long.
I mean, no offense to the sport of volleyball. I understand you're rotating players in and out, but it's in a very close space. The players are very regimented to where they can be. You're playing in, a basketball-sized court. I didn't think about it until Sean mentioned it, but as between the two, soccer certainly needs an assistant, in my mind, more so than would a middle school volleyball team. Not that both may not need it. That's why I asked if any of you remembered what the justification for an assistant at that level was. At the high school level, you probably understand an assistant better. But at middle school level, soccer, you got a lot more going on, a lot more chance of injury.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch the soccer job if I didn't have at least jail or someone, an auxiliary at least.
Actually, Bradley, what you're saying here, when we got our agendas the other day, and I was looking through mine, I saw the assistants in volleyball at the middle school, and I contacted the superintendent. I said, because it isn't clear when you read here, it just says coaches, but it's reflected in the salary schedule. And I asked Jeff and I had the same conversation. When we discussed this, did we see the necessity of a volleyball assistant at the middle school level? And Jeff's done some research, and I guess he hasn't really seen anything where he's put it pro or con.
Just had everything was just broken out, how much it was gonna cost.
Yeah, I mean, I know we looked at it from a cost perspective, but not really a need perspective. I don't remember ever thinking, myself personally thinking, okay, given the demands of this sport, do we need an assistant at the middle school level? Do we have enough time to take up item D at a later date? Because I'd like to understand why we need assistance for volleyball at the middle school level. I can't imagine, I know everything that was presented was wonderful in terms of level of participation and everything. It was a very good presentation by the people who advocated for volleyball. I'm surprised to see that much participation come fall. You never, at least in my experience, you rarely get the level of participation people say they're going to. But even if you had 17 or 18 volleyball players, even in a practice setting, you're still, they're in regimented positions, they're right there on top of each other. And I just question whether you need an assistant at the middle school level for volleyball. Now, I'd like someone to come and talk to us and tell us why that's needed.
Again, I'm thinking about the 3-week window. What if we just approve the head coaches tonight?
I'm fine with that,
And then
absolutely.
come back at another time and take a look at the assistants?
Absolutely.
We do that?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Because these volleyball coaches are gonna want that opportunity.
Yeah, well, I agree. With new programs, if they're gonna be competitive, they need the opportunity to do something in the summer.
So what we'll do then is we'll revise once again the, salary schedule, and we'll remove that until a later date.
Let's just, look at salary schedule 18, please. And then, you'll see on the second page, the back page, middle school assistant coaches. Let's strike volleyball for now. Then if need be, we can always come back and address that later on.
Yeah, okay, we're back, page 2.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, let's,
Okay.
please revise.
Yeah, assistants, middle school assistant coaches on page 2, Steve.
Yes.
Okay.
It's on the back of the volleyball coaches themselves, and middle school are on the front page, and on the back, page 2, are the volleyball assistants.
And I don't misinterpret my comments as saying that a coach, that I can't be convinced that we need assistant coaches at the middle school level. Someone that understands the needs and what's going on better than me may come talk to us, and I might jump right on board.
You
Just think
made
it's
the
something-
same observation that I did when I spoke with Mr. Midkiff, that at a volleyball game, match, whatever it is, I could see everybody out there easily. And like you say, in other schools, they're moving around, but it just, that's why when I was talking to Jim, I would recall us saying we need assistant, but let's strike it for now, if somebody convinces there's a need, we come back.
These auxiliary coaches we hire, do they have the same authority as the assistant? See, that's what been working at the middle school soccer, this auxiliary coach assistant.
What if we went?
They can get $1 a year, right?
Still let him.
I think, were you an auxiliary assistant soccer person at any time?
Not for the school system, no, just for the league.
But see, that's what we've been doing for my son-in-law, been an assistant for
Yeah.
auxiliary coach for 5 or 6 years.
That's right.
That would prevent schools from having an assistant and auxiliaries, right?
Right.
Yeah, they could have numerous auxiliary coaches. Okay, for now, let's just make that one revision into our Schedule 18, and we'll revisit it in the future if need be. And I guess Ray can finance and take care of it, right?
We don't need that, we receive. We can fix
Y'all
it.
can just erase it, or make it go away.
So it's good for you. Okay, we'll do it.
Okay, so then whenever that's posted, they just won't post that. Okay, anybody have any questions about any of the administrative items? Charter school will be one, I'm sure will. If not, then let's vote on that. Is that an all yes vote on the administrative items? Yes. Mary, did you say yes? Yes. I can't see your mouth. You need a clear one, clear man. All yes vote. Okay, finance, let's have a motion, please.
I'll move.
Carol? Baker, second, are you also finance?
All right, yeah, bad thing happened, Ray's, her dog, got ran over yesterday.
Yeah.
Girls are so upset, so he's not here with us this evening. I think he's out looking for another dog.
Oh,
It's a bad idea.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Can't replace one quickly. Take years before you're ready for another one.
Okay, item A, schedule of invoices totaling $858,011.89. Invoices are attached. Item B, the purchase of the Jeep Cherokee at a cost of $26,059. Invoice, or the, quote is attached. Item C, a county pension for the following retired employees paid from excess levy funds. And Joey Porter and Cheryl Lambert, that's a correction. Those ladies was on the May 19th agenda. The number of years of service and how much they would receive per month was incorrect. So those have been adjusted. So the auditor will have.
Girls gonna get a check from Brad Still, getting the insurance.
Yeah, for now.
Okay. Anybody have any financial questions? If not, is that an all yes vote on those items?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Booker.
Took very that time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Very emphatic there. Okay, let's go to personnel then. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Baker, Mr. Wilkerson. It's
Okay.
Nick Giff again.
Item A, employment of short, long-term substitute professional personnel. Item B, transfer of professional personnel. Item C, you may want to abolish this. Sure. So he's grinning over there. Transfer of service personnel. And item D, employment of extracurricular personnel.
Everybody's had a chance to look at those. If I have any questions at this time? Okay, if not, then an all yes on the personnel items.
Yes.
All right. Let's go to board members' concerns or comments. Anybody have anything?
I do.
Mr. Baker?
And I know, Mr. Midkiff, this has been addressed with you by Mr. Cremings, but in talking to Jerry, he has, I think he said, for the last 16 years, partnered with Southwestern Community Council. He typically hires 4 students, and they work for, it says normally they start in June, to service over 50 vehicles over the summer, I think, for Southwestern Community Action Council, maybe some of ours, is that right?
talked about this at board meeting, 2 board meetings ago.
What he needs, I mean, I don't remember what conclusions we reached about it, if any, but in talking to him about it recently, with that number of vehicles, if they hope to be able to do this, July 1 is his drop dead date to start working on these vehicles. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to get the work done in the window. And I don't know what our options are as far as allowing him to hire students to work starting July 1. I don't know if we can even do that. It's within our power.
Well, we talked about this, have been 2 board meetings ago?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Rowdy had hung up during.
Is that the one? Yeah, that may have been.
We got into this conversation.
Okay.
The fact that, you know, that we don't have any summer programs over there at all. We don't have anything, no credit recovery is not going on, there's no camps. We are doing extended school year, but it's being done remotely.
Mhm.
At this point, we don't have any clearance from the state for us to have students in our buildings. Other than that may change with athletics.
Well, that's what I'm reading in this athletics.
Right.
If we can have students on premise, outside, 6 feet apart, to me, there's a whole lot of difference in that and having 3 students and an instructor that are using proper protective apparel and maintaining social distancing in a garage that's probably, 40 by 40, 50 by 50. I just hate to see, I mean, everyone here knows how wonderful this program is, and it's all tied together. I mean, the connections Jerry has, I mean, the program's pretty much financially self-sustaining. And I just worry that this is a real knock in the foundation if they're not able to do this. And to me, I mean, I love athletics, but if we're going to come up with all this complicated process to allow athletics to proceed, why can't we do the same thing for true, I mean, hands-on skills? Jerry's putting people that'll work every day. He has a waiting list of people that want his graduates to come work for them. I know that. That's how I happened to be talking to Jerry. I reached out to him to try to see if he had anyone that he could recommend to a local garage that's looking for a good mechanic. And to me, to put athletics ahead of academics, particularly the emphasis we put on CTE, and I mean, year in, year out, our auto program is our shining star. Year in, year out. You never hear any complaints. We never have to do anything to that program. Jerry runs it like a well-oiled ship, nationally recognized. How many awards has he won? So if our hands are tied, we're not allowed to have students in the building, then that's an easy call to make. But if we're allowed to have students on premise for athletic purposes, and I read this, it says you can have them outdoors, it doesn't say you can have them indoors. Outdoors, maintain proper social distance, wearing face masks, less vigorous activities. But to me, this is the sort, I mean, is some way we can reach out to try to get an exception, to get permission to do something like this? If so, this is something that deserves it, that we really ought to look at doing that, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm sure the response would be it's up to the local board. I mean, I agree with everything you just said. But, again, our guidelines is what we're getting from the department in terms of what we're able to do. It is convoluted, we're looking at athletics, and we're talking about doing some things that, should we really be doing or not?
Yeah.
And of course, we're leaving that up to local boards to make those calls. But it's up to the board if you all want to allow him, give him that opportunity to continue to work with those kids as he's done so the past 16 years.
Well, I'd like to do that, but I want to make sure that we have clearance to do that.
Right. I'd like, I think what Steve's saying is what you just said. That you
Well, I
need to.
agree, I'd love to do it too, but can we legally let them use our equipment to make money?
Well,
See,
it
we have
goes.
that problem here, Rowdy.
It goes back into the program though. It
No,
goes,
no, it
No,
don't.
it don't.
No.
the fees that they charge don't go back into their program.
No.
Where do they go to? Oh, you're talking about the students making money.
Yeah, Jerry makes money
Jerry
too.
makes.
I have the agreement, he brought it to me today, which I thought was kind of odd because we had talked, Jerry and I have been talking about this for weeks. Because I thought he had things worked out, he's going to be able to use Tony Dominguez's garage. But evidently, that has fallen through.
Yeah, that's happened. He's not mentioned it to me. And I last talked to him about this last week.
And probably his equipment and all is more.
But we've received no clearance at all from the department to have students in our buildings, other than what came down Friday with athletics. And then it recommends, even when you get into phase 3, it talks about you can be inside, but they would prefer or recommend that you're outside,
Mhm.
not having students in the building.